Hey everyone, I'm back with another video today, and this video is going to be about Air Force photojournalism tech school. So quick caveat, I did not go through the photojournalism tech school. I went through tech school over 5 years ago, so my tech school was just still photography. So that's when the career fields were still split up between photographers and journalists, so I just went through the photography part of the tech school. Now the tech schools are combined, so it's kind of like a breeze through the basics of each side, the photo and the journalism side. So I'm just going to briefly go over what I remember from my tech school and what I also, the tech school that I went through online for the journalism side of this course. So give you a synopsis of what I went through so you can kind of know what to expect if you're interested in being an Air Force photojournalist. And here we go. So basically, the photo side of the course is going to consist of different functional areas. First, you're going to learn about basic camera operations, which means you're going to be issued a camera, and the camera that they give you, they're going to show you how to use and operate that camera. And they're going to show you a little bit about the mechanisms of the camera itself, how to identify what to do in pretty much any digital SLR. So you were issued a different camera, actually once you get to your first base, you should know how to operate it based on what they taught you about how to put the lens on, how to turn it on, how to use these different modes, how to use this stuff, how to set up your camera to take the right type of photo, how to set it up so that it's saving the photos in a certain file format. So they're going to teach you all that kind of stuff in the basic camera operations portion. Then we'll move on to like composition and techniques, which really just means like knowing how to use your exposure, your lighting, your different composition methods and techniques in order to take the best photograph for the situation. So you're going to learn about different techniques like framing, leading line, rule of thirds. You're going to learn about how to use your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO in order to get the best lighting for whatever the situation is that you're trying to photograph. So really you're going to learn about that all in the camera operations and the composition portion of the course. Then you'll move on to the different types of things that you actually will probably be covering most often once you get to your base. So a bulk of the things that you'll be covering once you actually get to your base consist of studio photography, passports, visas, ISO preps, and crime scene photography, which is kind of not really talked about too much in this career field, but yeah, it's something that you could cover. So for the studio photography portion, you'll learn about the lighting, how to set up the lighting for a studio, how the backdrop should look, how you should position your subject, how to make them get in the proper position through, you know, how to verbally guide them to get in the perfect position so that you can take the photograph, how to frame your photograph, how to crop your photograph, how the flag should be placed behind them. You'll learn about all that stuff. And actually, we did a video, Jermaine and I, when he got his first official photo, so I will link that right here if you want to go watch it. But yeah, that's pretty much what you're going to be learning in the studio photography portion. You also have a little bit of fun during that portion too, because you'll get to, I don't know if they still do it, but I think they still do. You kind of dress up, or you get to kind of wear civilian clothes for the day, and you kind of get to be a model for the day and take your own creative studio portraits. So that's pretty fun. That's like, I remember that as being like one of the best times in that course. I think if I can find my studio portrait from when I went through tech school, I will post it. It's probably cringy, but but I'll post it.
Whoa there.
So yeah, studio, we go over all that stuff, and then and that's really something like when you go to your first base, people need official photographs, commanders, people who are going up for awards, people who've won awards, people who are submitting for packages, different stuff like that. That's when you'll use the studio to get those portraits for them. After studio photography, you'll cover the different ceremonies that you might take. So you might take retirements, change of command ceremonies, any different promotion ceremonies. So you kind of cover the different techniques for taking photographs in those specific ceremonies. And I think that's kind of a breeze through. I don't think you really dwell on that too hard. Then you'll go into passports, visas, and ISOPREP photos, which are used for passports and visas for traveling internationally, and ISOPREPs are for, so it's the photo that they use for if you were to be captured, that they would have an up-to-date photo of you. So even since I've been here, anytime we were to go down range or do anything, the question they ask you is do you have an ISOPREP photo? Because if something was to happen and you were to get captured, we need an up-to-date photo in order to be able to identify you, you know, that kind of thing. So you'll learn how to take those photographs. One of the other functional areas that you'll go over is crime scene photography, and it's not talked about a lot, but it is a possibility that you could participate in a crime scene investigation for the purposes of taking photos. So crime scene photography can go from murders and suicides to domestic violence to damage to government property to assault, battery, to taking pictures of base housing, fires. You can take it's a wide range of things you can cover in with crime scene photography, and basically that just teaches you how to document a crime scene accurately so that you can portray the crime scene so it's not manipulated or it doesn't portray it inaccurately, because those photos have the potential of being used in court martials, and for investigation purposes. So it's very, very important. So you do have a whole functional area on that where you cover the basics of crime scene photography. And last but not least, actually not least at all, it's actually the most important, is you go through photo story. The photo story is really how you take everything that you've learned so far, and then you have to go out and find a story and take photos that represent that story so that someone can visually look at your 5 to 7 photos and know exactly what the story is just by looking at the photos. And they have to be visually pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, they have to keep the viewer's attention, and they have to make sure that they're exposed properly and make sure just following all those other rules and telling a very good story. It prepares you for being a photojournalist in the Air Force, where you'll have the opportunity and you'll have the responsibility of telling the Air Force's story. So on the journalism side of things, what happens is, okay, so you have a public affairs office, and the public affairs office now has photojournalists and it has broadcast journalists. We all make up the public affairs office. Now, what you'll learn on the journalism side of things is really the public affairs type of stuff. So you'll learn about news articles, feature articles, commentaries, different types of articles, how to write those articles, the format, how to edit those articles using the proper editing marks, how to use the AP style, which is the Associated Press, how to write in that style in order to follow those guidelines. You learn about DoD style. You'll learn about how to write an article, how to publish an article, following all those guidelines. Then you'll learn about media engagement, which is kind of like engaging with local media, engaging with news stations, and then learning about press releases and news releases. So if things are happening, if there's an event that happens on base where that news stations may be interested in, then they might have that might be newsworthy and might gain media attention, then you might release a news release so that you can let people know the basics of what happened and all the information that is releasable to the public. So you'll learn about that. You'll learn about just so many different things, responding to news queries, responding to setting up interviews, setting up press conferences. You'll learn about all that kind of stuff on the journalism side of that course. So really, because it's 2 separate courses that were, back when I was going through each individual course, the photo side of it was 60 days, and I believe the journalism course back in the day was like 58 training days. So they were pretty much equally long, and now they've crammed it to where you're getting the same amount of information from both of those courses in 60 days. Like, they didn't I don't think they lengthened the tech school. I think it's still the same amount of time. It's just now we're just breezing through everything. So you just have to keep in mind that you're not expected to be an expert once you go through that tech school. You're really just supposed to get the basic foundation so that when you get to your base, you'll have your leadership and your supervisors, which will help you go through your initial training once you get to your base, so that they can build upon that foundation and then teach you the stuff that's specific to whatever base you're stationed at, so that you can learn how to operate through whatever their rules and regulations are. So yeah, that's pretty much that's it. That's pretty much everything that you'll go through in the tech school, unless some minor changes have changed over the years. But you'll pretty much just get a synopsis and a brief overview of both the photo and the journalism side. And that'll be it. You'll be off to your new base, and then you'll be a photojournalist. So I hope this video was informative. I hope it answered your question about getting some more details on how the tech school actually does work for the Air Force photojournalist. And if you have any more questions specific about the tech school, you can definitely leave them in the comments below. Feel free to send us a message. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and hit that doorbell next to it, and so you can be a part of the doorbell gang. Also, make sure you like us on Facebook, and then you can follow us on Instagram to kind of stay up to date with us. As always, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.